In a small, quiet town surrounded by rolling hills and thick forests, there lived two identical twin brothers named Marcus and Michael. From the moment they were born, the twins shared everything: clothes, toys, secrets, and even dreams. They looked so much alike that even their parents sometimes had trouble telling them apart unless they wore different colored wristbands. Despite their striking resemblance, Marcus and Michael had distinct personalities. Marcus was calm and observant, often thinking before he acted, while Michael was energetic and bold, always eager to try new things. Yet, despite their differences, they were inseparable. The boys grew up in a modest house with a big backyard where they spent most of their time playing and imagining adventures. Their father, a mechanic who loved action movies, would often join them on weekends to watch classic martial arts films. The twins were mesmerized by the graceful yet powerful movements of the fighters on screen. They would mimic the kicks, punches, and flips, pretending to be heroes battling villains in their own backyard. Their mother laughed as she watched them tumble over each other, shouting lines from the movies. One day, their father said with a chuckle, "You two might actually become real-life martial artists." As they grew older, Marcus and Michael's fascination with martial arts only deepened. They began reading books about karate, judo, and taekwondo, learning about the philosophies behind these ancient disciplines. They admired how martial arts taught discipline, respect, and self-control. But living in a small town meant opportunities to train were limited. There were no proper dojos nearby, and their family couldn't afford private lessons, so the twins made do with what they had. They practiced their moves in the backyard, using a tree stump as a punching bag and a stack of old tires for balance training. They even created obstacle courses in the woods behind their house, leaping over fallen logs and swinging from low-hanging branches like acrobats. One crisp autumn afternoon, as the twins walked home from school, something caught their attention. A bright yellow flyer was pinned to a lamppost near the corner store. It read, "Karate classes at the community center. All ages welcome." Below the bold letters was a picture of a person performing a high kick, frozen mid-air. Marcus and Michael stopped in their tracks, staring at the flyer with wide eyes. For years they had dreamed of stepping into a real dojo, learning from a sensei, and testing their skills against others. This was their chance. "Do you think we're ready?" Marcus asked, his voice tinged with both excitement and nervousness. "Of course we are," Michael replied confidently, already tugging at his brother's sleeve. "We've been practicing for years. Besides, it's just beginner's class. What's the worst that could happen?" Marcus hesitated for a moment, but eventually nodded. He trusted his brother's optimism even if he felt a little unsure. That evening they showed the flyer to their parents, who were surprised but supportive. "Why not?" their father said with a grin. "It'll be good for you two. Just promise me you won't break any bones or furniture while practicing at home," their mother added. "And remember, it's not just about fighting. Learn to respect your teachers and classmates." The following Saturday, Marcus and Mackenzie arrived at the community center, their hearts pounding with anticipation. The building was plain, with peeling paint and creaky floors. But inside the large hall, a group of students was already warming up under the guidance of Sensei Davis, a tall man with a stern expression and a black belt tied firmly around his waist. His presence commanded respect, and the twins immediately felt a mix of awe and intimidation. Sensei Davis introduced himself briefly before asking the newcomers to step forward. "Welcome to the dojo," he said, his voice firm but kind. "Here, we train hard, show respect, and strive to improve every day. Are you ready to commit to that?" Marcus and Michael exchanged a glance before nodding eagerly. They promised to give their best effort, though they couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched closely, not just by Sensei Davis, but also by the other students. Among the group were several older teenagers who had already earned their black belts. These seniors stood out not only because of their advanced rank, but also because of their confident demeanor. Some of them whispered among themselves, casting curious glances at the twins. "Who are those kids?" one of them muttered loud enough for Marcus and Michael to hear. Another snickered. "Probably here for a week or two before they quit." The comment stung, but Marcus and Michael chose to ignore them. Instead, they focused on following Sensei Davis's instructions. The first lesson covered basic stances and blocks, movements that seemed simple enough but required precision and control. While some students struggled to keep their balance, Marcus and Michael moved with surprising ease, thanks to their years of backyard practice. Sensei Davis noticed their natural coordination and gave them an approving nod, which boosted their confidence. Despite their initial success, the twins couldn't escape the scrutiny of the senior students. During breaks, the black belts huddled together, occasionally glancing over with smirks. One of them, a muscular boy named Jake, approached the twins with a condescending smile. "So, you two think you're tough, huh?" he asked, crossing his arms. Marcus straightened up, meeting Jake's gaze steadily. "We're just here to learn," he replied politely. Michael added, "Yeah, maybe you could teach us a thing or two." Jake raised an eyebrow, clearly amused. "Oh, I could. Teach you plenty," he said with a laugh. "But let's see if you can handle the basics first." With that, he walked away, leaving the twins feeling uneasy. They knew they weren't just facing physical challenges in this dojo. They were stepping into a world where proving themselves wouldn't be easy. As the weeks went by, Marcus and Michael continued attending classes, determined to improve. They practiced tirelessly, pushing themselves harder than ever before. At home, they drilled each other on techniques, refining their movements until they were nearly flawless. Their dedication didn't go unnoticed. Even the skeptical seniors began to acknowledge their progress, though grudgingly. Still, the twins couldn't shake the feeling that a bigger test awaited them, one that would reveal more than just their skill. Little did anyone know, Marcus and Michael carried a secret weapon, years of parkour and acrobatics honed in the woods, giving them an edge no one expected. As the weeks passed, Marcus and Michael became regulars at the karate class. They arrived early every Saturday morning, eager to learn and improve. Their dedication didn't go unnoticed by Sensei Davis, who often praised their focus and teamwork. "You two move like you've been doing this for years," he remarked one day after watching them practice a sequence of blocks and kicks. The twins exchanged a quick glance but said nothing. They didn't want to reveal their secret, not yet. Despite their growing confidence, the senior students continued to mock them. Jake, the tallest and strongest of the black belts, seemed particularly determined to make their lives difficult. He would roll his eyes whenever they asked questions during class or mutter under his breath when they performed well. "They're just lucky," he told his friends during breaks. "Wait until they try sparring. Then we'll see how good they really are." The twins tried not to let the teasing bother them. Instead, they channeled their energy into training. At home, they practiced late into the night, perfecting their techniques in the dim light of their backyard. Their parents often peeked through the window, amazed by their son's determination. "They're going to be something special," their father said proudly one evening as he watched them leap over the old tires they used for agility drills. Their mother nodded in agreement, though she worried about the pressure they might be putting on themselves. One Friday evening, as the twins were wrapping up their practice session in the woods, they heard footsteps crunching through the leaves. Startled, they turned to see Jake standing a few feet away, arms crossed and a smirk on his face. "So this is where you disappear to after class," he said, looking around at the makeshift obstacle course. "I thought you two were just beginners. Guess I was wrong." Marcus and Michael froze, unsure of what to say. They hadn't planned on anyone discovering their secret training ground. Jake took a step closer, examining the tree stumps they used for punching and the ropes strung between trees for balance exercises. "Looks like you've been busy," he said, his tone dripping with sarcasm. "But all this parkour stuff won't help you in a real fight." Michael clenched his fists, ready to defend himself, but Marcus placed a hand on his shoulder. "We're just trying to get better," he said calmly. "That's all." Jake chuckled. "Well, you'll get your chance soon enough," he replied before turning and walking away. The twins stood in silence, watching him disappear into the trees. They knew what Jake meant. The seniors were planning something, and it was only a matter of time before they found out what. The next day at karate class, the atmosphere felt different. The senior students huddled together before practice began, whispering and glancing at the twins. Marcus and Michael exchanged uneasy looks but kept their focus on Sensei Davis, who was demonstrating a new combination of moves. As the lesson progressed, the tension in the room grew thicker. When it came time for partner drills, Jake deliberately paired himself with Marcus, while another senior student, a girl named Sarah, chose Michael as her partner. During the drill, Jake pushed Marcus harder than necessary, forcing him to block rapid punches and kicks. Marcus stumbled a few times but quickly regained his footing, surprising even himself with his resilience. On the other side of the dojo, Sarah tried to outmaneuver Michael, but his agility allowed him to dodge her attacks effortlessly. By the end of the exercise, both twins were breathing heavily but smiling faintly. They had held their own against opponents far more experienced than them. After class, as the twins gathered their things, Jake approached them again. This time, he wasn't alone. Several of the senior students stood behind him, their arms crossed and expressions unreadable. "All right, rookies," Jake said loudly enough for everyone in the room to hear. "We've seen your fancy footwork and your little backyard tricks, but can you handle the real deal? Care to spar with us?" The room fell silent. All eyes turned toward Marcus and Michael, who looked at each other uncertainly. They hadn't expected this challenge so soon. Sparring was part of the curriculum, but facing off against black belts was a completely different story. The odds were stacked against them. There were 5 seniors, all highly skilled, versus the 2 of them. Yet deep down, Marcus and Michael knew they couldn't back down. Doing so would mean admitting defeat before they even started. "Fine," Michael said finally, his voice steady despite the nerves bubbling inside him. "We'll do it." Marcus nodded in agreement, though his heart raced. He trusted his brother's boldness, even if he wished they'd had more time to prepare. The seniors grinned, clearly confident in their advantage. "Tomorrow afternoon," Jake announced. "Be here or we'll assume you're too scared to show up." As the twins walked home that evening, the weight of the challenge pressed heavily on their shoulders. They knew they weren't ordinary beginners. They had skills most people didn't expect from kids their age. But could those skills stand up to trained black belts? And how would the rest of the dojo react if they failed? Back at home, the twins spent hours strategizing. They reviewed videos of professional martial artists studying their techniques and timing. They practiced counterattacks, using furniture in their living room as makeshift opponents. Their parents noticed their intensity and offered words of encouragement. "Remember why you started this," their father reminded them. "It's not about proving anything to others. It's about believing in yourselves." By Sunday morning, Marcus and Michael were ready, or as ready as they could be. They arrived at the community center early, finding the seniors already waiting in the dojo. The room buzzed with anticipation as other students gathered to watch. Even Sensei Davis appeared curious, leaning against the wall with his arms folded. Jake stepped forward, cracking his knuckles. "Let's see what you got, rookies," he said with a grin. Marcus and Michael exchanged one last glance, silently reaffirming their unspoken promise to stick together no matter what. Then, without hesitation, they stepped onto the mat. What happened next surprised everyone, including the twins themselves. As the sparring began, Marcus faced off against Jake, dodging his powerful punches with ease. Years of parkour had honed his reflexes, allowing him to anticipate Jake's moves almost instinctively. When Jake lunged forward with a high kick, Marcus ducked underneath and countered with a swift strike to the ribs, sending Jake stumbling backward in shock. Meanwhile, Michael squared up against Sarah, weaving through her attacks like water flowing around rocks. His acrobatic background gave him an edge, enabling him to leap and spin out of harm's way. When Sarah aimed a punch at his chest, Michael sidestepped and delivered a precise kick to her leg, causing her to lose her balance. The crowd gasped as the twins moved in perfect harmony, almost as if they could read each other's thoughts. Every attack thrown their way was met with calm precision. Even the seniors, who had started the match brimming with confidence, began to falter. One by one, they realized they were facing something extraordinary. By the time the sparring session ended, the entire dojo erupted into applause. The seniors, humbled and impressed, joined in the cheers. Sensei Davis stepped forward, clapping slowly as he studied the twins with newfound respect. "Where did you learn to fight like that?" he asked, his voice filled with genuine curiosity. Marcus hesitated before answering. "We've been practicing parkour and acrobatics in the woods for years," he explained. "We didn't think it would translate to karate, but I guess it did." Sensei Davis nodded thoughtfully. "Skill and discipline come in many forms," he said. "Today you've shown us that true strength isn't just about technique. It's about heart and determination." From that moment on, Marcus and Michael earned the respect of everyone in the dojo, including those who had once doubted them. What started as a challenge fueled by mockery turned into a story of triumph and unity, a testament to the power of perseverance and teamwork. The applause in the dojo echoed like thunder, filling the room with a sense of awe and excitement. Marcus and Michael stood side by side on the mat, their chests rising and falling as they caught their breath. For a moment, everything felt surreal. The cheering crowd, the stunned expressions of the senior students, and the approving nod from Sensei Davis. It was a scene neither twin had imagined when they first signed up for karate class. They had come to learn, not to prove anything to anyone. Yet here they were, standing tall after defeating some of the best fighters in the dojo. Jake stepped forward, his earlier arrogance replaced by genuine admiration. He extended a hand toward Marcus, who hesitated for a brief second before shaking it firmly. "You two are something else," Jake admitted, his voice carrying a mix of respect and disbelief. "I've never seen anyone move like that." Sarah, who had sparred with Michael, nodded in agreement. "You made us look like amateurs out there," she said with a laugh. "Guess we underestimated you." The twins exchanged a glance, unsure of how to respond. They weren't used to receiving praise, especially from people who had once mocked them. "We just did our best," Marcus finally said, his tone humble but steady. Michael added, "And we worked together. That's what helped us." "Sensei," Davis approached them, his expression thoughtful. "What I saw today was more than skill," he said, addressing the entire group. "It was teamwork, adaptability, and heart. These two may not have years of formal training, but they've shown us that true martial arts go beyond belts and ranks." His words resonated deeply with everyone in the room, including the seniors. For the first time, they realized that strength wasn't just about physical power. It was also about resilience, creativity, and trust. After the session ended, the twins stayed behind to help clean up the dojo. As they rolled up the mats and wiped down the mirrors, several of the senior students lingered, wanting to talk. "How long have you been doing parkour?" one of them asked curiously. Marcus shrugged. "Since we were kids," he replied. "We didn't think it would help with karate, but I guess it did." Another student chimed in. "You guys should teach us some of those moves sometime. We could all use a little more agility." Michael grinned at the suggestion. "Sure. Why not? Maybe we can even set up an obstacle course outside." The conversation continued as the group worked together, laughter replacing the earlier tension. By the time they finished cleaning, the atmosphere in the dojo had shifted completely. The twins were no longer outsiders, they were part of the team. Even Jake, who had initially challenged them, seemed eager to learn from their unique style. "Let's train together next week," he suggested. "I want to see if I can keep up with your speed." Over the following weeks, Marcus and Michael became central figures in the dojo. Their presence inspired others to push themselves harder and think outside the box. Students began incorporating elements of agility and flexibility into their own routines, thanks to the twins' influence. Sensei Davis noticed the change and encouraged it, often pairing Marcus and Michael with different partners during drills. "Teach them what you know," he instructed. "Help them grow." The twins embraced their new role with enthusiasm. They shared tips on balance, coordination, and quick reflexes, drawing from their years of parkour practice. At the same time, they continued to hone their karate skills under Sensei Davis's guidance. Each lesson brought new challenges, but they faced them head-on, determined to improve. Their bond with the other students deepened, creating a sense of camaraderie that transformed the dojo into a true community. One evening, After a particularly intense training session, Sensei Davis called Marcus and Michael aside. "I need to talk to you both," he said, gesturing for them to sit on the bench near the wall. The twins exchanged curious glances before taking their seats. "What is it, Sensei?" Marcus asked. Sensei Davis leaned forward, his expression serious yet kind. "I've been watching you closely these past few weeks," he began. "Your progress has been remarkable, not just in terms of technique, but in your attitude and leadership. You've earned the respect of everyone here, including me." Michael smiled faintly, unsure where this was going. "Thank you, Sensei," he said. "We're just trying to do our best." "I know," Sensei Davis replied. "Which is why I want to offer you both a chance to take your training to the next level. There's a regional karate tournament coming. Up in 3 months, it's open to all ranks, and I believe you two have what it takes to compete." The twins stared at him in shock. A tournament? They had never considered competing before. Sure, they had proven themselves in the dojo, but facing opponents from other schools was a whole different challenge. "Are you sure we're ready for that?" Marcus asked cautiously. Sensei Davis nodded. "I wouldn't suggest it if I didn't think you could handle it. This isn't just about winning. It's about testing yourselves, pushing your limits, and representing our dojo. But the decision is yours. If you choose to participate, I'll support you every step of the way." Marcus and Michael looked at each other, silently weighing the idea. Competing in a tournament meant stepping out of their comfort zone, but it also offered an opportunity to grow and showcase their hard work. After a long pause, Michael spoke up. "Let's do it," he said firmly. "If you think we can handle it, then we'll give it our best shot." Marcus nodded in agreement. "Yeah, let's try. We've come this far, we might as well see how far we can go." Sensei Davis smiled, clearly pleased with their decision. "Good. We'll start preparing immediately. This won't be easy, but I have faith in you both." Over the next few days, news of the twins' decision spread throughout the dojo. There, fellow students rallied around them, offering encouragement and advice. "You guys are going to crush it," Jake said confidently during a sparring session. "Just remember to stay calm and trust each other," Sarah added. "And don't forget to have fun. Tournaments are intense, but they're also exciting. Enjoy the experience." With the support of their peers and Sensei Davis's guidance, Marcus and Michael threw themselves into preparation. Their training intensified, focusing on advanced techniques, endurance, and mental toughness. They practiced early in the morning and late into the night, refining every move until it felt natural. At home, their parents cheered them on, reminding them to take breaks and stay hydrated. "You've got this," their father said proudly. "Just remember to breathe and believe in yourselves." As the weeks passed, the twins grew stronger, not just physically but mentally. They learned to anticipate their opponents' moves, adapt to unexpected situations, and maintain composure under pressure. Their teamwork reached new heights, allowing them to communicate without words and anticipate each other's actions. By the time the tournament date arrived, they were ready, or as ready as they could be. On the morning of the competition, Marcus and Michael arrived at the venue with a mix of excitement and nerves. The arena was bustling with activity, filled with competitors from various dojos. Some participants wore confident smiles, while others looked tense and focused. The twins stuck close together, drawing strength from their unbreakable bond. Their first match was against a pair of seasoned fighters from a neighboring town. The opponents were taller, older, and more experienced, but Marcus and Michael refused to let intimidation get the better of them. As the referee signaled the start of the match, the twins moved in perfect sync, dodging attacks and countering with precision. Their agility and teamwork left the crowd in awe, and when the final whistle blew, the judges declared them the winners. Match after match, Marcus and Michael continued to shine. They faced tough opponents, enduring moments of doubt and fatigue, but they never gave up. Their determination and unity carried them through each round, earning them a spot in the finals. By the end of the day, they stood side by side on the podium, holding silver medals, a testament to their hard work and perseverance. Though they didn't win gold, the twins felt proud of what they had achieved. They had proven to themselves and others that they were capable of greatness. More importantly, they had strengthened their bond and gained invaluable experience. As they left the arena, surrounded by cheers and hugs from their teammates, Marcus turned to Michael with a grin. "This is just the beginning," he said. "Next time we'll bring home the gold." Michael laughed, slapping his brother on the back. "You bet we will. Let's keep training and show everyone what we're made of." And so the journey of Marcus and Michael continued, a story of resilience, teamwork, and the unstoppable spirit of two brothers who dared to dream big. After their impressive performance at the regional karate tournament, Marcus and Michael returned to their small town as local heroes. Word of their achievement spread quickly, and soon everyone, from classmates to neighbors, was talking about the Black Twins, a nickname given to them by Jake after their sleek black uniforms and unstoppable teamwork. The twins didn't mind the title. It made them smile, even though they knew they still had much to learn. Back at the dojo, things were different. The atmosphere was charged with energy, and attendance at karate classes surged. Students who had previously been hesitant or uninterested suddenly showed up eager to train, inspired by Marcus and Michael's success. Even parents began bringing younger children to enroll, hoping they too could follow in the twins' footsteps. Sensei Davis welcomed the influx of new members, but he reminded everyone that martial arts wasn't just about winning trophies. It was about discipline, respect, and personal growth. For Marcus and Michael, life became busier than ever. In addition to regular training sessions, they spent hours helping newer students improve their techniques. They taught basic stances, balance exercises, and how to integrate agility into sparring. Their lessons often included stories from their own journey, emphasizing the importance of patience and perseverance. "It's not about being perfect right away," Marcus would say during drills. "It's about getting better every day." Michael chimed in with his usual enthusiasm. "And don't forget to have fun. If you're not enjoying it, then what's the point?" His words brought smiles to the faces of the younger students, who admired the twins' confidence and kindness. Despite their growing responsibilities, Marcus and Michael never lost sight of their own goals. Every evening after finishing their chores at home, they headed to the woods to practice. The obstacle courses they had built years ago now seemed almost too easy, so they added new challenges: a higher rope swing, a narrower balance beam, and even a makeshift wall for climbing. These additions pushed them to improve their strength and precision, ensuring they stayed sharp for future competitions. One chilly autumn afternoon, as the twins practiced leaping over logs and flipping off tree branches, Sensei Davis appeared, unexpectedly. He stood quietly at the edge of the clearing, watching them with a thoughtful expression. When they finally noticed him, they stopped mid-drill, surprised to see their teacher outside the dojo. "Sensei!" Michael exclaimed, brushing dirt off his hands. "What are you doing here?" Sensei Davis smiled faintly. "I wanted to see where the magic happens," he said, gesturing toward their elaborate setup. "This place explains a lot about your skills. You've created something special here." Marcus nodded shyly. "We've been practicing here since we were kids. It's helped us stay quick on our feet." "It shows," Sensei Davis replied. "But I'm not here just to admire your work. I have something important to discuss." He paused, his tone turning serious. "There's another tournament coming up, a national one this time. It's bigger and tougher than the regional event, and only the best teams will qualify. Are you ready for that challenge?" The twins exchanged a glance, their excitement tempered by uncertainty. A national tournament meant facing elite fighters from across the country. Could they compete at that level? "How do we qualify?" Marcus asked cautiously. "You already have," Sensei Davis answered. "Your performance at the regional tournament earned you a spot, but qualifying isn't enough. You'll need to prepare harder than ever before. This won't be like anything you've experienced." Michael squared his shoulders, determination flashing in his eyes. "We'll do whatever it takes," he said firmly. "Right, Marcus?" Marcus hesitated for a moment, weighing the enormity of the task ahead. Then he nodded. "Yeah. If we want to keep improving, we can't back down now." Sensei Davis clapped his hands together. Good. Starting tomorrow, we'll intensify your training. Expect longer sessions, tougher opponents, and more focus on strategy. You'll need to master advanced techniques and develop mental toughness. Winning won't come easy, but if anyone can rise to the occasion, it's you two. Over the next few weeks, the twins threw themselves into preparation with unmatched dedication. Their training schedule became grueling, leaving little time for rest or relaxation. Mornings started with endurance runs through the hills, followed by rigorous drills at the dojo. Afternoons were spent practicing combinations and sparring against senior students, while evenings were reserved for refining their parkour-inspired moves in the woods. On weekends, Sensei Davis organized mock tournaments, pitting the twins against multiple opponents in rapid succession to simulate the pressure of real competition. Through it all, Marcus and Michael leaned on each other for support. When one felt discouraged, the other offered encouragement. When fatigue threatened to slow them down, they reminded themselves why they had started this journey, to push beyond their limits and inspire others along the way. Their bond grew, stronger with each passing day, becoming an unshakable foundation for their success. As the tournament date approached, the twins found themselves facing doubts, not from others, but from within. One evening, after a particularly exhausting session, Marcus sat alone on the porch staring at the stars. Michael joined him moments later, sensing his brother's unease. "You okay?" he asked softly. Marcus sighed. "I don't know." "What if we're not good enough? Everyone expects us to win, but what if we let them down?" Michael placed a reassuring hand on his shoulder. "We've trained harder than anyone else. We've faced tougher challenges before, remember? And even if we don't win, we'll still be proud of how far we've come. That's what matters most." Marcus looked at his brother, gratitude shining in his eyes. "You're right. As long as we give it everything we've got, no one can ask for more." The night before the tournament, the entire dojo gathered for a farewell dinner. Friends, family, and fellow students filled the room, sharing laughter and heartfelt words of encouragement. Sensei Davis stood up to speak, his voice filled with pride. "Tomorrow, Marcus and Michael will represent us on a national stage. They've worked tirelessly to get here, and I have no doubt they'll make us proud. Let's cheer them on and remind them that they're not alone. They carry all of us with them." The next morning, the twins boarded a bus bound for the city, where the tournament was being held. Their hearts raced with anticipation as they imagined the battles ahead. When they arrived at the venue, they were awestruck by its size and grandeur. Dozens of mats lined the massive arena, surrounded by bleachers packed with spectators. Competitors from all over the country warmed up nearby, their movements fluid and confident. Marcus and Michael took a deep breath, steadying themselves. They knew the road ahead wouldn't be easy, but they were ready. Together, they stepped onto the mat, their synchronized steps echoing against the polished floor. As the referee signaled the start of their first match, the twins locked eyes, silently reaffirming their promise to trust each other completely. What followed was a blur of motion and adrenaline. Opponent after opponent fell to their relentless teamwork and innovative techniques. Spectators gasped as Marcus executed a spinning kick that sent his rival stumbling backward, while Michael's lightning-fast reflexes allowed him to dodge attacks and counter with pinpoint accuracy. By the end of the preliminary rounds, the twins had earned a reputation as formidable contenders. In the semifinals, they faced a pair of seasoned black belts known for their aggressive style. The match was intense, with both sides refusing to yield. Marcus and Michael relied on their agility and communication, seamlessly transitioning between defense and offense. When the final whistle blew, the judges declared the twins victorious, sending them to the championship round. The finals were unlike anything they had experienced. Their opponents were calm, calculated, and highly skilled. Every move required precision and focus. Sweat dripped down their faces as they pushed themselves to the limit, drawing on every ounce of strength and strategy they had learned. The crowd roared with each exchange, captivated by the electrifying display of skill and determination. When the match ended, the decision was close, but the twins emerged triumphant. As gold medals were placed around their necks, tears welled up in their eyes. They had done it. Against all odds, they had risen to the top, proving that hard work, teamwork, and heart could overcome any obstacle. Back home, the entire town celebrated their victory. The twins returned to the dojo as champions, greeted by cheers and applause. Sensei Davis embraced them warmly, his voice thick with emotion. "You've shown us what true martial artists look like," he said. "Never stop inspiring others." Marcus and Michael smiled, knowing their journey was far from over. They had reached new heights, but there were still countless lessons to learn and challenges to face. For now, though, they allowed themselves to bask in the joy of their accomplishment, testament to their unstoppable spirit and unwavering bond. The victory at the national tournament changed Marcus and Michael's lives in ways they hadn't imagined. Their gold medals weren't just symbols of success, they were tickets to a world of opportunities. Invitations poured in from martial arts organizations, schools, and even local TV stations eager to feature their story. People wanted to know how two boys from a small town had risen to become national champions. The twins handled the attention with humility, always crediting their family, friends, and Sensei Davis for their support. Life at the dojo became busier than ever. New students flocked to join, inspired by the twins' journey. Some came seeking discipline, others hoping to follow in Marcus and Michael's footsteps. The brothers embraced their roles as mentors, dedicating extra hours to teaching beginners. They showed them not only techniques, but also the values of respect, perseverance, and teamwork. Karate isn't just about fighting, Marcus often reminded his young students. It's about becoming better versions of yourself. Michael added his own flair to the lessons, making training sessions fun and engaging. He encouraged creativity, urging students to experiment with moves that felt natural to them. "Don't be afraid to try something new," he'd say with a grin. "That's how we discovered our style." Despite their growing fame, Marcus and Michael remained grounded. Every evening after finishing their duties at the dojo, they retreated to their favorite spot, the woods behind their house. There, amidst the trees and rustling leaves, they practiced routines and dreamed of bigger challenges ahead. Their obstacle course had grown more complex over time, with higher jumps, narrower beams, and trickier climbs. It was their sanctuary, a place where they could focus without distractions. One crisp winter morning, as frost blanketed the ground, Sensei Davis arrived at the twins' home unexpectedly. He carried an envelope in his hand, its contents clearly important. "Boys," he began, his tone unusually serious, "I have news that might interest you." Marcus and Michael exchanged curious glances before inviting him inside. Inside the cozy living room, Sensei Davis handed them the envelope. "This is an invitation to an international karate championship," he explained. "It's held every 2 years in Japan, and it's considered one of the most prestigious events in the world. Only top-tier competitors are invited." The twins stared at the invitation, stunned. Competing internationally was a dream they hadn't dared to entertain. "Are you sure we're ready for this?" Marcus asked cautiously. "We've never fought against people from other countries before." Sensei Davis nodded. "You won't find a better chance to test yourselves. This tournament will push you beyond anything you've faced so far. But remember, it's not just about winning. It's about learning, growing, and representing your country with pride." Michael's eyes lit up with excitement. "Let's do it," he said without hesitation. "If we can handle nationals, we can handle this too." Marcus hesitated for a moment longer, weighing the risks and rewards. Finally, he nodded. "All right, let's see how far we can go." Preparation for the international championship was intense. Training sessions stretched late into the night, focusing on advanced techniques and mental conditioning. Sensei Davis brought in guest instructors from neighboring cities to challenge the twins with unfamiliar styles. They sparred against opponents who specialized in disciplines like judo, taekwondo, and kung fu, forcing them to adapt quickly. Each session left them bruised, but wiser, their skills sharpened to a razor's edge. Their parents supported them, wholeheartedly, ensuring they ate well and rested enough despite their demanding schedule. "You're doing amazing things," their mother said one evening as she served dinner. "Just don't forget to take care of yourselves." Their father chimed in with his usual humor. "And don't come back empty-handed. Those Japanese fighters won't know what hit them." As the departure date approached, anticipation buzzed through the entire town. Friends, neighbors, and classmates gathered at the community center to wish the twins luck. A banner hung across the wall read, "Good luck, Marcus and Michael, make us proud." During the farewell ceremony, Jake stepped forward to speak. "When I first met these guys, I thought they were just kids playing around," he admitted with a chuckle. "But now I realize they're true warriors. We're all rooting for you." Touched by the outpouring of support, Marcus thanked everyone for believing in them. Michael, ever the charmer, promised to bring back souvenirs. "And maybe a trophy or two," he added with a wink. The flight to Japan was long but filled with excitement. As the plane descended over Tokyo, the twins pressed their faces against the windows, marveling at the sprawling city below. Everything felt surreal. The bustling streets, towering skyscrapers, and neon lights glowing brightly even in daylight. When they arrived at the tournament venue, they were greeted by competitors from dozens of countries, each wearing uniforms, adorned with colorful insignias. The opening ceremony was a spectacle of culture and tradition. Flags waved proudly as participants marched onto the stage, accompanied by traditional music played on flutes and drums. Marcus and Michael stood tall, their hearts swelling with pride as the American flag was raised. For the first time, they truly understood the magnitude of what they were about to undertake. The preliminary rounds began the next day, and the twins quickly realized they were facing a new level of competition. Opponents moved with precision and grace, their techniques refined through years of rigorous training. Yet Marcus and Michael refused to be intimidated. Drawing on their agility, teamwork, and parkour-inspired maneuvers, they navigated each match with confidence. Spectators gasped as Michael executed a mid-air spin kick, while Marcus countered an attack with a perfectly timed block and strike. By the end of the second day, the twins had earned their place in the quarterfinals. Their performances caught the attention of international coaches and commentators, who praised their innovative style. "These Americans are bringing something fresh to the table," one analyst remarked during a live broadcast. "Their combination of acrobatics and traditional karate is unlike anything we've seen before." As the tournament progressed, the matches grew increasingly challenging. In the semifinals, they faced a duo from South Korea known for their lightning-fast kicks and seamless coordination. The battle was fierce, with both sides refusing to give an inch. Marcus and Michael relied heavily on their communication, reading each other's movements instinctively. When the final whistle blew, the judges declared the twins victorious, sending them to the championship round. The finals took place under the bright lights of the main arena, packed with thousands of spectators. Their opponents were a pair of Japanese fighters renowned for their technical mastery and strategic brilliance. The atmosphere was electric, with cheers erupting from every corner of the venue. Marcus and Michael stepped onto the mat, their synchronized movements drawing applause before the match even began. From the opening bell, the twins showcased their unique blend of speed, agility, and teamwork. They dodged attacks with fluid grace, countering with precise strikes that kept their opponents off balance. The crowd roared with approval, captivated by the intensity of the fight. Despite the pressure, Marcus and Michael remained calm, trusting in their preparation and bond. When the match ended, the decision was close, but the twins emerged victorious once again. As the announcer declared them champions, tears streamed down their faces. They embraced each other tightly, overwhelmed by the realization of what they had achieved. Gold medals were placed around their necks, and the American flag was raised high above the arena. For the first time in history, two brothers from a small town had claimed the title of international karate champions. Back home, the celebration was nothing short of extraordinary. The entire town turned out to welcome Marcus and Michael, lining the streets with banners and balloons. A parade wound its way through the heart of the community, culminating in a massive gathering at the dojo. Speeches were made, songs were sung, and stories of the twins' journey were shared with pride. Sensei Davis summed it up best during his speech. Marcus and Michael remind us that greatness isn't defined by where you come from or what resources you have. It's about believing in yourself, working hard, and never giving up. They've shown us that anything is possible if you dare to dream. For Marcus and Michael, the victory wasn't just about personal achievement. It was about inspiring others to chase their dreams. They continued to train, teach, and innovate, always striving to improve. Their story became a beacon of hope for aspiring martial artists everywhere, proving that with determination and teamwork, even the impossible could be conquered. After their historic win at the International Karate Championship, Marcus and Michael's lives changed in ways they could never have predicted. Their names became synonymous with excellence, inspiring people not just in their small town but across the globe. Letters and messages poured in from fans of all ages, some seeking advice, others simply thanking them for being a source of motivation. The twins read every note carefully, touched by how their journey had resonated with so many. Back at the dojo, enrollment skyrocketed as families from neighboring towns brought their children to train under Marcus and Michael's guidance. The community center, once quiet and modest, transformed into a bustling hub of energy and ambition. Sensei Davis smiled proudly as he watched the twins lead classes, their teaching style blending discipline with creativity. Young students mimicked their moves, eager to learn the same agility and teamwork that had made Marcus and Michael unstoppable. Despite their newfound fame, the brothers remained humble. They continued to live in their family home, waking up early, each morning to practice in the woods before heading to the dojo. Their obstacle course, now expanded with new challenges, became a symbol of their relentless pursuit of improvement. "We're still learning," Marcus often reminded his students. "Winning doesn't mean you stop growing." Michael, ever the optimist, added his own twist. "And besides, there's always someone out there who can teach you something new. Stay curious." Their parents marveled at how grounded their sons remained, despite the whirlwind of attention. "They haven't let success go to their heads," their mother said one evening while preparing dinner. "That's what makes me proudest of all." Their father nodded, chuckling. "Yeah, but I'm still waiting for them to start charging admission to those backyard training sessions." As time went on, Marcus and Michael began receiving invitations to speak at schools, conferences, and martial arts seminars. At first, they were hesitant. Public speaking wasn't exactly their strong suit, but they soon realized it was another opportunity to share their story. Standing before crowds of strangers, they spoke about perseverance, teamwork, and the importance of believing in yourself. "You don't have to be perfect," Marcus told an audience of wide-eyed teenagers during one such event. "You just have to keep trying." Michael chimed in with his characteristic enthusiasm. "And don't forget to enjoy the ride. Life's too short to take everything seriously." Their speeches struck a chord, earning them standing ovations wherever they went. Teachers and coaches praised them for their ability to connect with young people, encouraging them to dream big while staying true to themselves. One day, while sorting through mail at the dojo, Marcus stumbled upon a letter that caught his attention. It was from a non-profit organization dedicated to helping underprivileged children access sports and fitness programs. The group wanted to collaborate with Marcus and Michael to create a free martial arts program for kids in underserved communities. Intrigued, the twins met with representatives to discuss the idea. By the end of the meeting, they were fully on board. "We know what it's like to grow up without much," Michael explained later to Sensei Davis. "If we can help other kids discover their potential through karate, then we have to do it." With the support of their community, the twins launched the initiative, traveling to nearby cities to set up temporary dojos in parks and community centers. They spent weekends teaching basics like stances, blocks, and kicks, emphasizing values like respect and self-discipline. Watching the children light up with excitement reminded Marcus and Michael of their own childhood, the joy of finding a passion and pursuing it with all your heart. Word of the program spread quickly, attracting volunteers and donations from across the country. Local businesses offered funding, while retired martial artists signed up to assist with training. Within months, the initiative grew into a nationwide movement, providing thousands of children with access to structured physical activity and mentorship. For Marcus and Michael, it was a dream come true, a chance to give back and make a lasting impact. Despite their busy schedules, the twins never lost sight of their roots. They returned to their hometown regularly, ensuring the original dojo remained a welcoming space for everyone. On weekends, they organized friendly tournaments, inviting participants of all skill levels to compete and celebrate their progress. These events fostered camaraderie and unity, reinforcing the idea that martial arts was about more than winning. It was about building connections and supporting one another. Sensei Davis often reflected on how far Marcus and Michael had come since their first awkward steps onto the mat. They've grown so much, not just as fighters but as leaders, he mused one evening after class. It's rare to see people achieve greatness and use it to lift others up. The twins' bond, forged through years of shared experiences, only deepened with time. Whether practicing together in the woods or brainstorming ideas for their next project, they operated as a single unit, seamlessly anticipating each other's thoughts and actions. Their partnership was a testament to the power of trust and collaboration. Years passed, and Marcus and Michael continued to evolve. They competed in occasional tournaments, always pushing themselves to try new techniques and strategies. But their primary focus shifted toward mentoring the next generation of martial artists. Many of their former students went on to win regional and national titles, crediting their success to the foundation laid by the twins. One summer evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Marcus and Michael sat side by side on the porch of their childhood home. The air was warm, filled with the sounds of crickets chirping and distant laughter from the dojo. They sipped lemonade quietly, reflecting on their journey. "Do you ever think about where we started?" Michael asked, breaking the silence. Marcus smiled softly. "All the time. Remember that flyer on the lamppost? If we hadn't seen it, none of this would have happened." Michael laughed. "Yeah, and look at us now. Who would have thought two kids messing around in the backyard would end up here?" "It's funny how life works," Marcus replied. "But I guess that's the thing, we didn't plan any of it. We just kept moving forward step by step." Michael nodded, his gaze drifting toward the stars. "And we're not done yet. There's still so much more we can do." As they sat there, bathed in the golden glow of twilight, it was clear that Marcus and Michael's story wasn't just about victories or accolades. It was about resilience, the kind that comes from facing challenges head-on and refusing to give up. It was about teamwork, proving that two people working together could accomplish far more than either could alone. And above all, it was about inspiration, showing others that no matter where you come from or what obstacles stand in your way, you have the power to shape your destiny. In the years that followed, their legacy continued to grow. Books were written about their journey, documentaries aired on television, and murals depicting their triumphs adorned walls in cities around the world. Yet through it all, Marcus and Michael remained the same quiet, determined boys who had once dreamed of becoming martial artists. They carried their success lightly, using it not as a badge of honor but as a tool to uplift others. Their story served as a reminder that greatness isn't reserved for the privileged or the lucky. It belongs to anyone willing to put in the work, believe in themselves, and embrace the unknown. Marcus and Michael proved that even the smallest spark of determination could ignite a fire capable of lighting up the world.